Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we are taking a look at Steelmanville Road, which is the second movie in the Bad Ben franchise. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, I don't blame you. It's an Amazon Prime exclusive horror franchise that utilizes the found footage format in all of its movies, and we all know that you don't exactly need the highest budget in the world to make these movies, and the same definitely applies here, as this is the cheapest movies I have ever seen in my entire life, and I have seen a lot of found footage. Just take a look at Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch, since this is a few movies that you've all probably heard of. Those movies also very, very low budget, but a lot higher than other found footage movies like it because they're considered Hollywood productions. I think Blair Witch Project was $60,000 and Paranormal Activity was $11,000. Once again, lots of money in general, but not that much when it comes down to how budgets actually work in Hollywood movies. You're talking $100 million, $200 million in general when you're looking at Hollywood movies. Avengers Endgame was like $1 billion, so 11,000, 60,000, really not that much. Bad Ben was made for $300. That's it. So when you're looking at found footage in general, it's just like every other movie, right? There is professionally well done Hollywood movies. There's indie movies that are not always done as good. Sometimes there are some special gems found in those. And then you have movies like Bad Ben, which are considered amateur completely, because that's exactly what it is for the most part. Half of these movies is just one guy in his own house with his smartphone just recording random things and calling it scary. Steelmanville Road is the prequel to Bad Ben, as it follows around a group of a family that moved in before Tom moved into the house in the first movie. So this one's important because it's talking about questions that were unanswered in the first one. It's explaining them. It is filling in those gaps that maybe the first one left unintentionally, intentionally, whatever. This is really good because it's giving more of a unique voice and personality to what Bad Ben offered in the first one. It's essentially the why to the what that the first movie came out with. I also like the fact that instead of it just being one guy in a house the whole time, there's at least two a majority of the time, which actually brings you back to something like Paranormal Activity, which is exactly how they did their thing. And there's actually a lot of stuff in this movie that feels structured like Paranormal Activity, especially with the roles these people have in this home. That being said, it is a movie that has a lot of technical things that go wrong with it, just like the first one too. And I talked a lot about how you technically make a movie, and I'm gonna do that again here because the same can kind of apply. They're doing what a lot of horror movies do this day and age. When the first one doesn't really show much of anything, the second one tries to do something a little bit more complicated, more challenging, and shows the apparition that's actually haunting the people. I've always thought that was kind of risky because I thought the scariest things were always in our own minds, so we can conjure up the images of the scariest things we've ever seen in our own minds versus what a movie can do for you. But what about this movie? In general, think about it this way. Think about if you were shooting down a hallway in black and white and you covered it with green to make it look like it's night vision. Then you have an apparition actor show up acting all spooky in the hallway. Video editors often have a effect called masking, where you basically cut a line around the apparition and then you click delete on the mask specifically itself. It gets rid of the green from the night vision, so what's left is the apparition in all of its black and white glory. It's gray, black and white glory. But usually when you see these things in movies, the mask kind of fades off into the green, right? Because it's feathered out. And that's not entirely the case here. It looks really contrasty, like they just cut it out with their hand, and you can see it's pretty sharp. It doesn't really quite look right. Another problem that I see with this is the color of the apparition as being gray. That alone isn't that bad, but when it contrasts with the very, very vibrant green of the night vision, it actually distracts from everything else. It looks really, really off. It doesn't look like something your eyes want to watch. What I would have personally done was add another video layer and made it not black and white, and I would have made it something specifically that would work very, very well with the color spectrum of greens that complements it. Apart from that, sometimes you get a really good close-up of that ghost, and what you see is black makeup around the eyes right here, which is something you would often see with scary movies with ghosts, maybe skeletons and things of the nature. But once again, it's that blending, it's that feathering, where in other movies like it, you'd have the black makeup fade into the rest of the face, where everything just kind of gets lighter and lighter and lighter. This looks like Sharpie marker. So basically, once again, a sharp line around the eyes where it doesn't blend in anything. So it looks like Sharpie marker. It looks like maybe shoe polish. I'm not entirely sure, but it is really not thought out that well. But then again, I don't know if it's made on purpose to be funny, because a lot of people do see the entire series as a so bad it's good type of funny movie. I do like to pick up on a few things here and there, because I made movies with my brothers when I was younger, and I went through the process of a lot of this different things. I actually have experience putting the black eyeliner around my eye. I have experience with that. I have experience with masking things out in a shot. Basically, when you don't have the budget to make big movie edits, you can't do it, and you have to be creative, and you have to do your best, which I think Nigel Bach did when he made these movies. So I am not discrediting him for what he did with what he had, which was honestly always impressive. But a general audience watching this will pick up on these things, and they'll be kind of questioning why. Another problem that I had with this movie, I mentioned this in my review of Bad Ben, is the acting in this movie specifically was very, very awful. Distractingly bad. And it's not like Nigel Bach was the greatest actor in the first one either, but there was a sense of naturalness to him, genuinity to him that felt real. And the problem is that they're trying a little bit too hard in this movie to act. And when you have a movie like Found Footage, it's all about amateurism. It's all about as real as humanly possible. And guess what? People in real life are boring. They just are. They're likable, but they're boring. And that's how you should act in a found footage movie. You should never try too hard, because it doesn't need it. It just doesn't. Nigel Bach was like just walking around his house like, all right, guys, I'm getting mad because I'm getting haunted and I don't know what's going on. Oh, well. And he's never really scared, which would make more sense in a movie like this. But I'm actually kind of glad that he doesn't. I'm kind of glad that he just goes around getting really mad at all these ghosts. Because if he were to act scared, then he might be the one that's overacting, over trying too hard. And when he doesn't do that, he stays within the confines of what he set out to do, which is great. These people do try a little bit too hard, a little bit too much of the time, and it does distract from what they're trying to go for. I'm going to rate this movie 37%, 37 out of 100 possible stars. On my website, daveexamensmovies.com, I have a series review for all 6 movies in this series, so go ahead and check that out, see how I rated everything and how they relate to each other. And I might review more on this channel, I might not, but the fact is, from this point onward, there's not much more to talk about with the series. A lot of them start to rehash some of the old. A lot of them have some good ideas, like Bad Ben had some good ideas. The Mandela Effect definitely had a lot of good ideas. Everything after that, though, nothing. Like the 5th and the 6th movie specifically, I wouldn't have much to talk about at all, because there's not much going on. It was just rehashing some of the same old, no new ideas really. It is what it is, right? But you can check out my franchise review on my website, daveexamensmovies.com. It's up right now. And until next time, guys, make sure that you hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.